Hello viewers, this is AKwasp, and in part 2 of this series we'll be going through the design and construction of the city layout that was highlighted in part 1. So, at the very start...
So, yeah, you start with what?
Right, so you start with just this
a
on-ramp.
road. Okay.
So I built a road going out here because very specifically I wanted the drainage pipe to be at the edge of the river. So this is kind of what dictated
Did you pick this plot of land?
Yes, so when we start, we can pick what type of land. This is just the first of them, so I figured it was probably like easy mode or beginner mode or whatever.
It would be awesome to put a city right here. I know that you said it doesn't look, but like, you know, it'd be a beautiful city. We can
make a new city on a new map tile. So, but anyways, this was my basic thing. Once you zone out the area.
People are already popping up.
Yeah, because I had put that in, I zoned it in. So I zoned that for industry, this for commercial, and this for residential. And the reason is the way that power. So you have to put down water lines.
Okay,
so these were the water lines.
Hang on. So why? What would happen if you just did all commercial or all like? What if you don't want people living here? Make it all industry.
So see right now, this area is zoned for commercial and industry, and now they're moving in. These bars down here at the bottom indicate what sort of demand there is for stuff.
Okay, so right now there's a big demand for residential.
In order for there to be demand for commercial and industry, there have to first be people who live nearby.
Okay.
So you kind of have to do what these bars say. Supposedly in today's patch they made commercial be more demanding than before. I don't know if that's... I didn't find that to be a problem. But yeah, basically so let's go to the next save. So the next save, let's see where it's at. Right? So I expanded out the residential area further out, and I built a second road because I had always intended to have basically a one-way road in and funneling down to runway road out.
But you only built it out, you didn't continue it all the way, right? You only...
Because of money. So you can see right here I only have 200 bucks, which is very little. Things are expensive and things cost upkeep and stuff. So one of the reasons why I'm actually starting over here by the power plant and by the water lines is because so these power lines over here exist so that this water intake pump can get power. Because otherwise things share power like just down the road by streets. So originally, you saw from the last save, people over here were complaining they didn't have any power. Once buildings got built over here, the power just got built up on its own. This is a landfill right here. So yeah, that's why I'm going from left to right in this particular case. Because see, this whole area doesn't have any power yet. And similarly, only this area has water. So I have to add, these guys want water. So I have to add that. The next one, that was 2, so this is 3.
This looks like a big leap forward.
So, yeah, basically, I mean, I didn't save it in any particular...
So how did you learn everything? I mean, did you do the tutorial? Or
there's no tutorial, unfortunately. If there is, I didn't find it. We can go through the first game and I can show you what I did with that, but... Yeah, basically, I intended to have a big industry highway here and a big industry highway here. I was under the impression, and I'm not sure if it is true or it's not true, but I thought that because a lot of times industry complains that they need workers, and sometimes I had people who were like way over here, and I felt they just didn't want to commute all the way that far. So part of my intention for building industry over here and ultimately over here as well was to have residents in between so that there'd always be an available workforce.
And what you were saying is you needed a buffer of commercial.
Yeah. And you can see all this pollution here. So let's see here. If you hover over that, it doesn't. But
so why do you need the buffer? Is that because of the pollution? Or?
Because commercial area doesn't seem to care. So it appears that the commercial areas don't care about pollution. So you can have a successful Walmart or whatever in a polluted area, and there doesn't seem to be any adverse side effects. But if you have residents living next to a polluted area, they get sick, and then that's a drain in the medical facility. So I'm not sure if I have any medical facilities.
Wow, so that's even.
So I don't have any at this point. But I have the cemetery for dead people, but I don't have... Oh, yeah, I do. So I have one medical clinic over here. So it would just be a drain on that one resource. So the other thing I didn't mention is the police force. You can have police force and fire force.
So all the things you need to manage
and education.
On this
so over here is a guy grade school.
Okay.
and you can see I'm starting to build. So at this point, my one-way road in, nobody uses it, but I put it there kind of as a placeholder, and it's just a one-lane road because I couldn't afford a 6-lane road, and also because it wasn't.
Go back to the traffic. I'm interested to see where the traffic is here.
So,
so nobody's using that one-lane road.
And we can turn out the faster mode so you see things going and fast forward. I have a little over ramp for another egress.
So you actually have to build the ramp.
Yep.
Otherwise, there would have to be an intersection there that would create
exactly.
traffic.
Intersections are crazy. If you look at like people on Reddit, what they're doing, like all this stuff is like over ramp, under ramp. Unfortunately, you can't build into the ground, so like over ramps are the only options. I say over ramps. I don't know.
At every intersection, you should build a ramp. Wouldn't that be cool? But that would be very expensive, probably.
So
you would need no traffic stops because everywhere there would be a ramp. Then it'd be hard to turn, right? It's hard to.
I mean, we can try that. We can try that. So let's see here. Next file. What was this? 3. So 4.
Is there an objective to the game?
I don't think so.
Get in a population of this, make this much money.
Just kind of do whatever you want. Oh, so at this point I discovered that you could have roads with trees.
Or campaign mode,
so
anything like that?
I had roads with trees. I don't think so. I had built more landfills, more water resources. Industry was going up. I think I put over here, so a full-fledged hospital instead of just a medical center, a full police headquarters, and a full fire station. I think it's actually a bad idea to have all of them next to each other because it probably causes a lot more traffic on that street. But I've never had problems with traffic on the street, so...
looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. So, but again, this is only 6,000 population.
Okay.
So as you build up, everything gets more and more crazy. So let's go forward a bit.
So I think that's one of the things that
this doesn't look significantly different, but I had basically zoned in these areas for stuff to start building.
You built the roads before you even have anything there. It looks like you're planning for a residential area.
Yep. So this was essentially my intention, and I had to draw some power lines over to here because again,
but there's no demand for residential right now, so you can't actually build.
Yeah, at the moment there isn't. So it doesn't hurt you from zoning the area, but yeah. So I mean, essentially, as you have more industry wants more workers, which is people, and as you have people want jobs, so that creates demand for industry, and commercial seems to be like an in between of the two.
A couple
seems to be a balance.
So one thing that always bothers, like this is clearly this is a sandbox game. I feel like I need some guidance, when I'm playing a game. Like I need an objective, like I need something, because what happens when it's sandbox? I do it once. I'm saying, okay, make the biggest city I can, and then once I figure it out, right? Once I figure out how to make the biggest city possible, I never play it again. That's why campaign modes are kind of cool because they force you to play a little bit differently, right? Go build a city in a different area, build a smaller city that has a lot of industry or just some different objective. So to me, I realize that a lot of people love this like lack of objective, but a person like me, I need somebody to give me an objective, kind of, Second thing, what would be awesome. I keep thinking about this in terms of real cities, right? What if if they added like maps that you could download that are based off real cities, right? Like Detroit, for example. It'd be a bunch of abandoned buildings, like cities. You're super in debt.
So they do have abandoned buildings. So as you start messing things up, buildings become abandoned. I downloaded a Steam Workshop mod that automatically bulldozes them. Otherwise, they get destroyed over time on their own. But essentially,
so you download a mod that plays the game for you, so that you don't have to do it.
What?
You downloaded a mod that plays the game for you because it's bulldozing things automatically.
The only thing it does automatically is destroy abandoned houses or destroy abandoned places.
But that's probably part of the game, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, the game does it for you anyways. It just does it. It's it was one that, so I downloaded 3 mods. I downloaded the one that automatically destroys abandoned houses. I downloaded the one that lets you switch. So natively, when you have roads, you can upgrade them to higher lane roads, but you can't switch them from one-way to two-way and vice versa. So I downloaded a mod that does that. Yeah, I also downloaded a mod that goes to isometric camera mode.
That seems like a big limitation. You should be able to change a road from being one-way to two-way. So that clearly that's just a lack of, that just hasn't been implemented yet into the main game.
That's how I feel.
So like that's not something that the developers intended.
Yep.
Cool. So this is the most recent. This is the most recent point, right? This is for far long as
Yep,
you made
this
it?
is the newest thing. So the only thing that I hadn't showed before was, I guess, the metro system.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing around because you can do bus lines. So these blue guys are bus lines.
Oh, cool.
I think they're terrible.
And they reduce traffic.
They're one of the last things. In theory, they're one of the last things I tried, and it didn't seem to reduce traffic in any way. I also put up these metro subway stations underground.
Maybe traffic isn't bad enough
couple
yet,
lines.
because you've done a really good job managing traffic so far, that there currently isn't the need for it. You know, it's like a city like Detroit.
Yeah, this road's all congested.
Yeah,
and this road is too. But I mean, I've done a lot of things to try and mitigate that. This used to be all a lot more red.
you could build another road. You have this plot of land
Is this
here.
the newest
You
thing
could build
that's on
another
it?
road down there.
Is this the last save? I thought I had.
Yeah, I think a little bit further because you're at 25.9.
Oh, yep.
Population.
Save 8. I thought it was only 7.
So do you want to continue building this one, or do you want to start from scratch?
Nah, I want to start from scratch. So one of the things, I guess I should have pulled it up, is in this case I had essentially spammed a bunch of parks because I realized that it increased the land value, increases essentially the tiers of the buildings. So if we click something like, that's a bus depot, if we click... I don't actually know how to check, but essentially different buildings have different like tiers of like based on how much they're worth. So one of the things I want to say real quick was because originally you may have noticed this was all high density residential when I zoned it out, and eventually I turned some of it into low density stuff and some of it into commercial to try and alleviate the traffic problems that way. My theory is I think that people park less at commercial and they seem to be using the buses more. So maybe it causes less traffic that way. And definitely the low density stuff is better too. So anyways, let's go ahead and start a new game. Yeah. So let's see here. How do we quit?
So as a person who's not familiar with this genre of game, and you're not familiar either, you were saying, right? This is your first game?
Type of game.
I'm interested in what is unique about this game versus, like, because SimCity 4 came out a couple of years ago, and I remember it was a huge debate. Like, I haven't played a SimCity game since the Super Nintendo version, as I was saying, and I barely remember that. But I remember SimCity 4 being a broken mess in terms of online connectivity features. It had some DRM policies that people really hated that was locking people out of the game.
I heard about that, where you had to play online only.
Right.
I don't know, because I'm never not online.
And I'm wondering what's unique about this particular game in the genre, because it seems to be very popular, but like we don't really know what makes it better or makes it worse. So how did it take you a long time to get? Because it seems like you have a pretty good, solid foundation for how this game works.
I could walk you through my first game.
No. Let's start a new game. But I was just thinking, like.
Well, let's just go to the end of my first game.
You say there's no tutorial.
I didn't see a tutorial if there is one. So essentially, my first game. So you can make districts, which I didn't make in the other one, but so you can see I'm hemorrhaging money like crazy. All I had is this. Everyone's unhappy.
There's lots of crime.
I'd made lots of problems. I think my problem was actually that once the policies unlocked, I had enabled them all, and I bet you if I didn't have any, my stuff might start going back into the positive.
Wait, what are policies? Like?
I was just see my stuff's starting to go back. I think this was my problem. Power usage, so you can conserve on power by installing
so there are like restrictions
meters,
on the population.
water meters, pet bans, and stuff. And they so like this one, slightly reduced garbage accumulation, slightly decreased happiness. So apparently these are better to apply to certain districts only, specifically. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I don't really hear much of the game output. I wonder.
Oh, it's not doing much right now.
Okay.
We're not in a particular noise area.
There we go.
Okay, So I have problems with that. Also with your budget, so you can allocate a certain % of the budget to make things work at a certain efficiency and stuff. And
wow, man, there's a lot. There's a lot to manage.
There's a lot of things you can do. So let's start at the beginning, because the kind of tutorials.
I mean, you kind of learn by failing and just doing it yourself. That's the best way to learn this.
Hey, so now that you understand the layout process I had for designing the city, stay tuned while we design a brand new city from scratch.